Okay. And action.
Welcome to Poetry City.
Well, that's cool.
I don't know what to say.
Yeah, people.
It felt reversed.
No.
I have a screen, but I have a video of $3 and I don't have it. I've never seen it before. I haven't been on to watch it.
You have it?
Oh, I do see it.
When he's got this tape, his father and mother come in, went to some party with Carol there in class or some other guy that he's around. So he's got this homegrown.
Oh, that's good. You can hear the voice in the room, and it's like total homemade.
Oh yeah, so some little sack.
Yeah, you can hear it grinding away in the background. It's the real squeaking.
That's got the real thing.
Field recording sound. Yeah, that's great. That's really cool. I like those. I love old homemade tapes.
I like people like that, like drunk people. Bring stuff back. Other people like stuff, right?
Yeah, when the band plays there are more people.
Then he'll focus on like period.
People go to TV and it's a bit less. It's just like a
Look, isn't that a disgraceful thing? What a waste. Leave that. Poetry reading, you should be shot.
Take this. Put this in your pocket.
Hi. Okay, I'm Joan. Nice to meet you. Oh.
Okay,
we'll have sound in.
Okay.
5 minutes. This is, no, that's what we want to hear. We want to hear live, raw poetry. We want to hear the poets talking.
You're not going to hear it from me. You can film me all you want. You won't get any of that stuff. If I was I'm not.
It's okay, I'm not going to stay. I've got to go pretty.
Figuring we're going to just take a few more minutes before we start getting going here. I think we're still we're getting the sound here together. Yes, sir. It's getting there. Yes, sir. It's All Saints Day. And everyone came dressed as their favorite saint. I can tell. Yes, sir. And the saints are gathering here. In fact, they might be marching here tonight. Who knows? The saints marching. That sounds all right. Doesn't that sound all right?
Orville Ely. Day in, day out, night after night, School Superintendent Ely searched for B, little B, even for the B that ran away, sulked off, bad grammar, new nubility, sheep, sulked off in a rage of raucous music after the last retarded tantrum. From a home where he could bathe himself clean as his grammar, where the soap smelled morrow, the porcelain looked Protestant, linen and shirt and soul all unstained, he worshipped a clean-cut Christ. Grace was said before each meal. One mistake in grammar earned a sneer. 2 mistakes in grammar earned a slap. 3 mistakes in grammar sent one from the table. Grace was offered after every meal. Searched for months through scummy neighborhoods and streets reeking like latrines, Orville Ely, well-dressed and terrified, assaulted by the sight of life-sized dolls, pneumatic in flimsy, dirty lingerie, plump and sickening, as large as B, in shops that smelled of sweat and sin and urine. Home again beside his well-washed wife, his dream sinks inside Manhattan Harbor. Pollution stains the porcelain teeth, the swelling eyes, the gills, the membranes, the delicate entrails of edible fish. Pollution taints the alleyways and avenues, contaminates the breath and lungs and brains of pigeons, pimps, and prostitutes in the heart of prowling Ely. His right arm, long and mean, blemished with tattoos, He prowls, young again, silky mean, the long arm and the mean hand like a poisoned snake, angry fingers clutching the mean knife. Healy aches for victims, for pimps, fags, pigeons, johns, pneumatic dolls, runaways, 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 to go, going, went, gone. All one victim, androgynous as zeppelins, one infected soul slopping off in sobs of fog. Ely himself, the wounding eye, the wounded me. Indeed, of a former teacher, having indeed involved and created a reality, a spiritual reality, and turning back into the illusions of the past. And finally, this man on pension, and decades earlier in his life, coming into his living room, that illusion. It's called Dennis Chips Kelly on pension. Drowsy in his rocking chair, Chips blinks like a pug and sees glazed streets in gaslight, littered with thieves and thugs, bastards, murderous bastards, battered and helpless. Chips blows his whistle, clubs the curb, listens for the lads to come and cart the crooks away out of the criminal night. The living room holds silence. Lips pursed, hands clenched and empty, he waits there for the lads. Sinister windows from long ago look down at him. He clubs the curb again. Near the corner, a ragtime tramp turns and slinks away. Where are the lads? He looks around the living room, quiet, blurred, and warm. Where are the lads? The lads. Nobody hears him anymore. Patchy Pete, the one-eyed cat, prowls the alley, snarling and secure.
He crosses Woodford Mountains, a fiddle tune playing back inside her head, or maybe her grandfather singing about Jesus and his glory, or some Indian foremother humming Abenaki lullabies. People see Crazy Lady as a tenured professor, choosing mind over body every hour of her life, writing coded poems like Emily Dickinson, goddess of New England dress. People don't see inside her skull where her grandmothers danced down the long contra lines, or lie in tender childbed, milk rising to their nipples. Crazy Lady is a mother, too, of a long ago grown-up baby. Crazy Lady remembers love and tears and birthing. She can no longer write elegant footnotes. The music is far too insistent. A drum begins to beat deep inside her brain. Del Monte, Madeira, 1996. On the Acropolis of this dead volcano, Our Lady has her shrine, not on a site of an Aphrodite temple or a grove of horse goddess Celtic Eptona, because nobody lived on Madeira when they were worshipped by these holy names, but on this mountain high above the ocean, as their votaries might have chosen, Our Lady, who embodies all the forgotten names, stands with a crown upon her long black hair and her baby in her arms.
Simplicity awaits. Simplicity awaits like the dawn. I heard it in the wind yesterday as it brushed my ear in the maelstrom of my thoughts. I saw it in your clear, translucent eyes as we stole a glance where time and place met as one. I felt it as we embraced, all the facades fading into a dying leaf. The Buddha is so fat and cheery, his smile the radiance of unblemished simplicity. Take me and break me, O dawn, into the wind, the translucent eyes, the embrace, the Buddha that smiles within.
Hello. So why do you come to poetry reading?
the spark of inspiration, of accomplishment, of human activities of this sort, with words going. And human activity with words being perhaps the highest form of artistic accomplishment. And we have quite a group of poets in this little part of Albany. So I come to hear them.
A poem is not a poem until you're familiar with it by encountering it 3, 4, 5 times, which means it might help if you bought the book. Anyway, thank you very much.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to your in Schenectady. There's light. I know it's really cold, so I appreciate that everybody hopped in their cars to come all the way to Schenectady. Mark's Tavern. Cool. So we appreciate that y'all came down here because we know it's cold and you might have just rather have stayed in and curled up with your dog and a cup of hot chocolate and all that stuff, which I like to do. But we got like 9 of us here, which is okay for such a cold night here in town. I'll go through the list so you know where you are. Nobody wanted number 1, so I figured I had to get in there somewhere, so I put myself up there. Myself, yeah, Dan Wilcox isn't here. Where is he when we need him, huh? Still kind of in the early stages thereof, but it's called Full Circle. Finally got around to putting those old photos in an album, you know, the ones tucked inside manila marked scenes from another life. It really seemed that way, you know, at least for all those years, and baby, it's been many, but finally at last, it felt good to place them behind plastic. Many were shots of the country. You know how I love those wide open fields and woods, the sunsets, blue skies, and winding roads from whence we came. Many were of horses we'd met on our paths, horses you captured just for me through the eye of a lens, the blink of a shutter. Of course, there were some of you behind that drumset, hair caught in midair, flying like the sticks in your fists. It was something I never questioned or doubted, your passion for music and rhythm, a passion we shared, and I loved watching that hair, dark, straight to the middle of your back, flying madly as you ran, with a beat flying underneath you. Finally put those old photos in an album today, the photos dusty inside manila, the ones marked scenes from another life. And it did seem this way. For too long I didn't like the way I looked in those photos, thought myself more worldly, womanly wise than the images we preserved on Kodak paper. And though there is a truth here, still it felt good to thrust those old photos gently behind plastic. I liked the way they felt beneath my fingertips, smooth, gently glided between clear view plastic sheets and full view for all to finally see, as if in a final resting spot, a memorial, if you will, to that which once was. And it was sunsets, horses, wooded path memories, a first blush kiss and innocence. It was music and rhythm, the wind in our hair and faces, singing aloud to the sky, the crunch of autumn leaves underfoot. Finally got around to putting those old photos in an album, and the ones I kept separate, tried to ignore, the ones that simply weren't me anymore, that innocent, trusting child woman. And yes, it felt good to place those photos in an album for all to see, for life is a circle of rhythmic individuality, who we are now and who we were then. And I'm still fond of horses and long-haired men, and these days I burn sage while watching the sun as it sets with a gentle but cool eye of awareness, and appreciate the rhythm of leaves underfoot even more. That's me. Thank you. Naked Downs. This tree is nearly naked now, stripped down to bare bark, brown as the soil where rooted, but it is not ashamed of its earth body, or limbs outstretched to the moon, stars, and sky, as if in silent praise of some unknown creator. But it is its own God, a spiral architect of circles, cycles, and rhythms, a birthing mother, endless in her prime in time, planting seed where needed, caught by a neighboring wind just passing by. Okay, I think I have one more called How I Spent My Columbus Day Vacation, which I told Karen I would read if I have it in here. You know what, Karen, I just might not. That's okay, I still want you to read the stuff you said you would read if I read mine. Okay, I guess I don't have it on me right at this moment in time. So, that means...
I sit, smoke wafting from my mouth. I feel strung out, slowly sipping coffee. I gently shake. I think I know that girl over there. But time has slowly replaced my memories with others, misplaced them, photographs amalgamated, strewn about an album in no order. I sift my hands through the falling sands of my hourglass in vain, trying to slow them and regain my lost focus, faces familiar, voices familiar, yet so peculiar. As I wait for an answer, I realize that I am alone, listening to my thoughts shattering the pains of my mind. I have found that there are no answers, just understanding. Okay, this one is kind of about the stage I'm in now, because every winter I get really withdrawn and I'm in a period of self-introspection and whatnot, so it doesn't have a title yet. Whenever I try to write, the words just aren't good enough. They don't reveal enough, or they betray too much. Like now, I'm sitting in my kitchen smoking a cigarette, sorting through my thoughts, and some will say, wow, that's brilliant, wow, that's art. But it isn't brilliant or art. It's my life, bland and boring and overbearing. Complacently, I sit listening to a CD, and I'm the asshole with a good heart who always seems to be in the wrong. I am a metaphor. What's wrong with this? Okay, this one is Big Bold Buddha, and anyone who's been at the Cafe Dolce open mic the past 2 months has heard me read this. So if you have, bear with it again. Big Bald Buddha sitting lotus on the pad, meditating on the suicide of society, watching little men on the death trip running around, trying to find the way. I envision myself on my deathbed saying, jump up and down, for the fun has just begun. Eternity exists outside of time, and I've proven that God is an extension of our mind. Big Bald Buddha sitting lotus on the pad, meditating on the rebirth. To the ragged skies of another dreary morning in the city. Out of the window I can see the pimp daddy motherfucker selling his girl's wares and his little vials of disease to the next foolish fiend ready to burn his cash and smoke his soul away. And around a corner a suit sits and waits for a bus to take him to his job. He pretends he's important but knows that he's just a slave in the big broken machine of America. This broken American dream that used to be a house in the burbs and a white picket fence is now to live to 25 with no knife scars or bullet wounds or deadly addictions dragging you down to the graveyard. And some call me a loser for sitting in my third-floor apartment and scribbling my thoughts, sitting with the 40s and blunts or martinis and Cuban cigars, and yet I'm living my dream as they swindle and hustle and deal and say money will make me happy, chasing after that ever-elusive dream of happiness. The ragged skies shine some blue around noon as I await my next great thought or noise to scribble it into my notebook with a poet's flair as I eat the lunch around the corner grocery store. I sit and await my peace of mind. In rush hour traffic at 5 o'clock, the honks of horns, the catcalls of sleazy men to get sleazy women, the scramble to get home before dinner's on the table, and the undaunted searching for that dream, for that elusive dream, that dream of happiness that eases them to sleep at night and wakes them in the morning. The ragged skies turn black as I sit and smoke and scribble and drink and dream of dreaming.
You want a nose flute song? Are you making a video?
Yes.
Ed and I have worked together before. Yeah, it's time to get serious. This is one I wrote about 1990 or so. And I meant this to go along with my music, and it hasn't happened, but that's okay. Doesn't even have a title. We're going to get quickly into Zen. Alone we are each alone, islands we are each alone, within ourselves the whole universe, of depths beyond recounting, because you see it filters through us as we perceive all of creation. We are the funnels of God's wonder, and we are the tunnels of our own inadequacy. Who can measure your joy? Who can measure your sadness? Can you? Can I? Who can measure your anger or despair? Who can measure your creativity or limits? Who can measure your high, and who can measure your low? Seek not to measure the limits of your soul, but only strive. Find yourself and lose yourself in the finding. Are you a flower? Bloom! Are you a thunderclap? Roar! Are you unknown? Be mysterious. Be the bell and ring. Let yourself glisten, and with your ears, listen. I had a couple of things published in my church newsletter, Metropolitan Community Church in Albany, and this is one of them. I was asked to read this to open the worship service one day. The world is not coming to an end. I have it on pretty good authority. Who? God? Well, yes, I will not demand that you believe this, but listen and judge for yourself. Yes, our civilization is sick. As a country and a world community, we are in a state of moral and spiritual depravity. Many live to hate. Many have grown up in chaos because their parents never knew what's right and good, because their parents were living on hurt instead of love. Lack of love is a terrible, grievous thing that results in human beings falling into wretchedness. How do you fix it? You fix it by caring. The bad news is the time to fix it may equal the time it took to fall apart. Years, years, and years. Is that reason to give up? No, not for me anyway. Which would you rather do? Go down caring or go down hating? And if you are caring, are you indeed going down? Don't let the doomsday people or the haters get to you. Who says there's a point of no return? And what is your point of no return? Life and this universe has many feedback mechanisms, and it's been taking care of itself for millennia before we came along. We are surrounded by the shadow of doom, but doom is not in sight. Will you give in to a shadow? In the animal kingdom, the mother takes care of her young with no instructions. What more evidence of God do you need? What more evidence of a caring God do you need? Follow his example. Okay, now we're going to get a little bit lighter.
Uh-oh.
Who here knows about Lazarus Long? Anybody? Nobody? Ed, you don't know about Lazarus Long?
No.
Who knows about Robert A. Heinlein?
Science fiction.
Oh, science
Okay,
fiction.
Lazarus Long is Robert A. Heinlein. Ding. So, Lazarus Long wrote a notebook called The Notes of Lazarus Long, of course. So, a short time ago, I composed the notes of Alonzo Short, which are complementary to Lazarus Long. Now this started, over 10 years ago, maybe 15 years ago, hard to say, maybe even 20 years ago. And this is deep wisdom of the ages. Somebody was talking about deep wisdom of the ages. Okay, this is deep wisdom of the ages. And it starts out like this. These are short sayings. Man is the most irrational critter on earth. All the animals, including those with limited quasi-human mental capacities, chimpanzees, dogs, dolphins, whales, etc., function within their biological parameters. If they go berserk, it is the result of pain or brain damage. Man is the only critter who acts totally irrational with no excuse whatsoever. Much of science, as it is practiced today, is just another religion complete with prejudices, blind traditions, and totally chauvinistic attitudes. Science is an expression of man's curiosity, imagination, and intellect. Curiosity and imagination get an A+. Intellect gets a C-. If you want to be a nut, go right ahead, but find something meaningful to yourself to be a nut about. In many cases, genius has been nothing more than the ability to formulate the obvious. Emotional experience, not logic or reason, are the stuff that changes a person's fundamental beliefs. People believe whatever they want until their sense of security is shook. They did it. We're not to blame. P.T. Barnum was right. There's one born at least every minute, and probably a lot more often than that these days. Nobody deserves anything, and you have no rights. You've been given a life, intelligence, dreams, aspirations, and a will. Use them. Continued on page 5. You are accountable for all that you do. That includes unknown, subconscious, and hidden motives. Sound unfair? Would you entrust your accountability to someone else? Would you account for someone else? Opportunity could knock on your door even more than once, but never reliably or on schedule. The fruit of the black walnut tree falls early in the morning. There is no correlation between sanity and success. The most untogether people can throw their weight around and the little guy still falls for it. Though man is irrational, he needs order. That has been an absolute must through the ages. Stuff lost off motorcycles in motion immediately disappear into another dimension, never, ever, ever to be found ever, ever again. Regarding quantum mechanics, it has been definitely determined that certain things are more uncertain than ever before realized. It is interesting that the past several generations of science does its best to exclude any and all references to God while simultaneously presupposing a causality, order, and determinism to everything. Lots of scientists still choke and feel uncomfortable with the indeterminate, probabilistic nature of quantum theory and strive for alternate interpretations. As soon as you need a label to define yourself, you're in trouble. It may be all right to find some of your identity in a catchphrase, but beware of allowing the label to define you. Continued on page 6. I must have had fun putting this in the newsletter. Alonzo Short, continued from page 5. It's getting down to the bottom at this point. My friend, Joaquin Murphy, had 2 gifts, precious beyond measure. One would think they should be automatically ours, but they are not. Not in this human ocean of uncertainty. The gifts are, he has the discernment of truth, and he's deeply in touch with himself, including his intuitive sense. Certainty tells you where you are. Uncertainty spurs growth. Most religions serve the purpose of keeping people dumb and emotionally dependent on stuff